Alrighty, guys, let's go. We're going to give you all some hood time. We just got loaded here. Get the heck out of here. Uh, I'll go ahead and apologize for all the bugs on the windshield. That's, nothing I can do about that. The truck likes to kill bugs. Oklahoma and Kansas got a lot of bugs. So there's a lot of bugs on the window. And I'm pretty sure the video quality is not going to be that great because it's an iPhone and not you know, a video camera from, ABC or whatever. So, but somebody had said, "Oh, when you're driving and talking, we don't need to see your face." I don't know if they were trying to say I'm ugly or they just don't like looking at my face. So, figure, well, we'll point y'all to the road and y'all can look at what I look at all day. Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll see something crazy and pretty much happens on the daily. Just kind of you're gonna get it on video, really. So I'm just rambling now. So we've been putting accessories on the truck while we've been out here. I don't want to show anything uh, until after Monday, and we get the truck polished. Just because I mean, it still looks good, but I want it to look really good, and I haven't done that much to it. And I don't know if you guys, if you're not into trucking or you're not trucking, or if you're not an owner operator, but you guys start buying like this, the lights and aftermarket accessories for the truck, shifters and stuff like that. That is spendo. Like, man. But now that I've started doing it, like, I can't stop. You know, it's like you get that itch. Like you start upgrading your home or something, and you just like keep going and keep going. I knew once I started putting lights and stuff on the truck that I was probably going to spend way too much money and just keep going. It seems like every day I'm ordering something new. I need to really stay off the Amazon and the four state truck parts. It's not good for me right now. It's not good for my credit card. Let's put it that way. So anyway, enough of that. The reason for the video today, it's a touchy kind of video, I think, but I feel that the words need to be said. Some people shouldn't be owner operators. I said it. I don't want to try to hurt nobody's feelings. I ain't trying to slam nobody. If you are owner opping, and it's not working out, I'm not saying it's because of you or something that you're doing. It could be, and you don't want to admit it, or it could be, who knows. But I just get so tired of hearing these drivers. Oh, I used to be an owner operator. I'll never do that again. The biggest waste of my time. I never made so little money and worked so hard, and I'd never buy another truck again, and you know or you got guys out here, they go and they buy the truck and they don't have a plan, they don't have a business model, they don't have no idea, no customers, or nothing. They just, well, I've been driving for Schneider or Swifty or whoever for a couple years, and now I just want to buy a truck and run general freight. And they couldn't even tell you if the market is good or bad. Um, and then they fail, and or they wind up losing their truck because they can't make the truck payments, or they just wind up going out of business altogether. you know and this is aside from the lease operator stuff. I'm not hating on a lease operator. I don't think I haven't ran into anybody who had an overwhelmingly good experience with the whole process and at the end of it wound up with the truck. But my opinion, which is like an asshole, everybody's got them. You can call me an asshole. Uh, if you're a lease operator and you can't move your truck into a different field or to a different company, if it's not your name on the title, you know, and the money's not coming out of your bank account, that's not your truck. Just because you're paying for the fuel and you're making the truck payment and they're taking care of all of your permits and giving you a fuel card, and you're like a glorified company guy. And I don't say it to be a bad thing. It's a good place to start to get your feet wet, you know, get in there and get into the transition from not having to pay for anything to having a truck payment and insurance and fuel. You're not necessarily paying for it. You're running the freight, and and they're taking it out of your check. And then if the weeks are bad, or if you get a bad, turn or whatever, they're not going to take your truck away. They'll just, well, we'll just take a little extra out next month or the following month, or we'll make it up somewhere. But you can keep running. You can, hopefully you can keep still paying your bills. From what I've heard, I've never done it personally, but this is just what I've heard from other drivers that I've talked to about that. So I'm not saying it's not a good place to start coming from a company guy. I'm saying if your goal is, I want to buy a truck and own it outright, and I want to be an owner operator right out of the gate, and you have a business plan, you kind of feel like you know what you're doing, that's not the place to go. Because you pay too much for the truck. By the time you get done with it, it ain't worth much anyway. And you can't move it, if you get a better opportunity to make more money. And in this game, it's a business. It's about making money. Looks like we got somebody lost a recap here. Yeah, four-wheelers getting all sketchy. No way, like a little, who we got, like Walmart up here? I'm putting out my cones. I'll get out of your way there. No way, a Cree's got his boy with him, or that's probably a student. Student driver, no survivors. So, what was I saying? Getting off topic here. It's a business. Excuse me, sorry. And some people are like, oh, I'm just going to do the work and the money will follow. And that's mostly, it's right. You got to do the work. But if you're not looking at your bottom line, if you're not factoring in how much you need to make per day, per week, per month, if you don't have an expense list and either know what you got to make a day, or in a week, or by the mile, however you want to figure it out, at the end of the month, there's a number that you got to hit to break even. You can average your fuel costs. You can put your truck payment in there. You can put your personal payroll in there, all your expenses, your insurance, you can even factor in your quarterly IFTA payments, if you're pretty diligent about it, and all your other expenses, escrow and, bobtail and liability and all that good jazz. And if you're running your own authority, obviously your cargo liability and your, all the other permits that come with that. At the end of the month, there's going to be a number that you got to hit. So you can't come into being an owner-operator and just thinking, I was a good company driver, I'll make a good owner-operator because I'm a hard worker. But you don't have to know it right out of the gate, but you got to be willing to learn and treat it like a business. Because at the end of the day, once you become an owner-operator, you're working for yourself. So if your business doesn't make money off of the business that it's contracted to, then you're not going to make any money. You see what I'm saying? You could be leased to Landstar or Mercer or whoever, and they're going to get their percentage. And they set their percentage for a reason, because they know their overhead. And they know, we charge them this month, this is our expenses, this is how much money we can make. they're going to get their percentage regardless. But if you don't book the right freight or the right amount of freight to make your business profitable, then you can't expect to make any profit yourself, put any money in your personal bank account to pay your bills, to go on vacation, to, doll up your truck or everything else that goes with that. So there's a business sense to this. I highly suggest, if you're not doing it on a personal level, as far as, like a monthly expense form, you might want to start. Because, I do a trip sheet, for example, just give an example of how I do it. I know when I was, I know what it costs me per week in fuel to drive this truck for every mile. Last week it was 42 cents a mile in fuel. The truck itself cost me $85 a day on a 30-day month. Whether or not I drive it 1 mile or 100,000 miles in that month, which that's an exaggeration, but I'm just, trying to make a point here. And I just want to check my number there. Yeah. So, and then, my average fuel cost is around $1,500 a week. And I have this all in a spreadsheet. It's called truckingoffice.com. It's real nice. It's like $35 a month. You can do your IFTA, you can do invoicing, you can do, you put all your customer information, driver information, truck information, and it keeps a hold of all that. But the nice thing is they store it on their server, so you're not plugging up your computer with a bunch of data, files from years and years ago that you don't want to necessarily get rid of in case you have to revert back to them. So I like using them. And I put all my expenses in there. So I know what I have to make every day. And I factored it into what I'm doing, so I know that I'm making money. And every few months I'll go back and revert to it and see, like last month was the first month this year that I did it. I went back into April, added up all my trips, because I do a weekly trip sheet. It has all my trips on it, start mileage, end mileage, start location, end location for the week, truck trailer info. It's got all my loads, all my fueling, and then I have a cost per day, a cost per mile, and my total miles for the week. And I have all that on there. Now, once I get paid, I take my settlement sheet and I put with that trip sheet for that week. This does two things. A, I wrote all my loads down that I did that week, Monday to Sunday. So I can check off my settlement sheet and make sure I got paid for all my loads. Good businesses don't intentionally take your money from you, but they will. Everybody messes up, forgets to pay you for a load, or, they paid you a little bit less, or, the mileage isn't right. And that's stuff that as a company guy, you don't have to keep an eye on so much, but as an owner operator, you want to. So it does two things. I can revert back to my settlement sheet, compare, say, okay, check off all my loads. I got paid for all these, and then of course I have them in email form. And then I take that trip sheet and I put it in a file. Now, that trip sheet has the miles I drove in each state for that week. So I revert back to those trip sheets every quarter when I go to do my IFTA, because it can add up my weekly mileage for the week, the miles I did in each state, and then there you go, easy as pie to file your IFTA. You got all your information right there on one piece of paper. And then I can go back to it and say, okay, here's my 4 settlement sheets with my trip sheets for the 4 weeks in April. This is how many miles I did. This is how much money I made. This is what I ran per mile. This is what I got per mile after fuel. And this is what I made after my expenses. And then numbers will not lie to you. Math doesn't lie. Unless you're doing that new math shit, then maybe so, I don't know. Old school math, 2 + 2 = 4, that kind of shit will not lie to you. You break it down, and then you can look and see if you're making money. And then you can say, okay, I'm doing good. I don't need to change anything. Or I need to change something because I'm making money, but I could be making more money. Do I need to add another day in here? Do I need to work an extra day? Do I need to try to get a few more miles in? What runs are paying better? Stuff like that. Stuff like that that you wouldn't think of as a company guy because your thing is just chasing miles. You're a company man, you want to hit a certain miles a week, and so you know how much money, that's what you're going to get paid. I'll do 2,500 miles a week, I'm going to get paid. Okay. As an owner operator, you could do 2,500 miles in a week and lose money if you move cheap enough. And don't get it twisted, they will try to get you to move that cheap. Brokers don't care if you make money. And you can't be scared to negotiate with them. You can't be afraid to hear the word no. You're going to hear no. There's always another driver out there that's going to move it cheaper, just like there's always a guy out there with a faster truck and a bigger house and more money. But you know what? There's always another broker that's got another load. You just got to look and find it. You got to do some digging. You might have to move, to go get it. But there's always more freight. There's always more drivers and there's always more freight. So don't be afraid to negotiate with these guys. You don't have to be an asshole about it. Be respectful to the brokers unless they're being an asshole to you. But, some guys will just take something at face value and they won't even ask. And they'll have more money in that load and they may not have another driver on the hook. And then you've got them. You've got the fucking tiger by the tail instead of the other way around. Is that how you would say that? I don't know if that's a good fucking whatever analogy, but oh shit, I got to get this load covered. Okay, somebody called on it. And then, oh, he just asked for $300 more. Well, some brokers will get rid of it just so they don't have to try to book it with somebody else, especially if it's with a good carrier. And this goes anywhere. I did a video on negotiating rates at Landstar, and somebody commented, "Oh, you can't negotiate rates at Landstar." Bullshit. Bull butter. I negotiated rates on the daily. Negotiated fuel surcharge. Negotiated, rate per mile. Negotiated layover pay. Anything I could get on that accessorial side that I got 100% of, I did. I booked a load of fireworks one time out of Wichita and got like 75 cents a mile in fuel surcharge. It was crazy. But it was around the 4th of July. He really needed it moved. I had my, hazmat and all that good stuff. I was right in the area. And he was like, look, if you'll take this load, it wasn't paying what I wanted. It was paying all right, but it wasn't paying great. So he was like, look, I'll move this much over into fuel. I'll pay you this much for fuel surcharge, whatever it was, $900 or $700 or something like that. Anyway, it worked out to like 75 cents a mile. And that I got 100% of. So then when I factored that into my mileage, now all of a sudden I'm making money. But you got to ask. If you don't ask, they won't. That's what's on the board. This is what I give for it. And you'll get that. Oh, I see his load. Can I get $15 more so that I can break even? And they might tell you, nope. I got Joe Blow. He's going to move it for $15 less. Okay. Thanks for your time. Call me if you can't get it moved. And you go on about your business. Hey, there goes the Landstar there. That's another good company. I liked it at Landstar. And, there's been some people that have gone back there because of the way freight is right now. I've heard their rates are still staying pretty high. And they say, well, they overinflate their rates, which they do, but it's because you're getting 65%. When I went away from Landstar, I was getting 80, 85%. And I was making the same money as when I was over there getting it for 65. But I lost all the discounts I got. The great fuel discounts and tire discounts and, It was just easier. Yeah, you only get to look at one load board. Sometimes that'll put you in a pickle, but if you stay in the right areas, you're okay. So it's a lot. I mean, I feel like I could go on all day about this, and I've only been in it, this is my fourth year. 16, 17, and 18 now. I'm in 19. This is my fourth year as an owner operator. And I can tell you the first year was tough. First 2 years were tough, and I was running oil, which I had already known how to do. And the rate per mile was, getting $3, $4 a mile, you know. Granted, like running this ethanol, half your miles are empty most of the time unless you get a backhaul. But which is fine. You do half your miles empty, it's easy on the truck, as long as what you're going down there for equates to where you're making money over all the miles you're driving. Because every mile this truck moves is, less money that it's worth, is that much more money in cost and maintenance and upkeep, and that much more money in fuel. So just because half the mileage is empty, you don't say, oh, well, I'm getting good fuel mileage and it's not tearing up the truck, because it's just not true. Every mile you drive is money out of your pocket. So you got to factor in every mile you drive into what you're making so that you know if you're making money. But there's a learning curve when you get out there. So you can't just expect, I wouldn't suggest, unless you've got quite a bit of working capital, to go out and buy a brand new truck. And I damn sure would not recommend going out and getting a big hood truck like this when they got them Volvos and the Cascadias and them cheap Pro Stars and stuff out there getting, with them automatics getting 8-9 miles a gallon, under lightweight freight, and getting 7 miles a gallon loaded up heavy going, over the hills. Because your cost to operate a truck like this is going to be more. Therefore, it's kind of why my philosophy is I put my truck where the money is. I don't have time to hang out for bad rates or, little money, or wait till it gets better. Wherever I'm, that's why I prefer being a jack of all trades. Whether the money's in a pneumatic, or, any kind of hydraulic live bottom end dump, or product trailer tanker, whether it be oil, fuel, or ethanol, or whether it be step deck or flatbed, reefer or drive-in, doubles and triples, LTL, expedited, whatever it is, I would go do that if that's where the money was. And yeah, I've had a few jobs in my day. I'm not some people will crucify you over that. And you know what? I never gotten a bad reference. I don't just go somewhere for, a week and then quit, but if I'm there 6 months and it's not what you told me, and I'm not making the money that, hey, this is what it's going to be, and oh, it just went upside down. Well, I've got to put my money where the truck is, because the truck's got to make the money, A, so I can afford it, and B, so that I can make money, so, that I can continue to grow my business and operate at a profit. I don't believe in operating for a loss. I don't believe in moving for cheap. There's enough guys out there doing that already. So it's just things you got to think about, and a whole lot more than you have to factor in when you go into being an owner operator. It's way different than being a company driver, and you got to know that going into it, and you got to be willing to learn about it, deal with it, and put in the extra time and the extra work, and then you'll succeed. I've been driving since 2011. I've made more money in these last 4 years than I ever did as a company. And I'm talking take home play money, blow at the bar or the club, or, go on trips and, cars, and I just have. And I've had some weeks where I would have made more money as a company guy. you know. And I took that with with my frown and my pissed off attitude, and I did what I had to do to change it and get back to where it was profitable. But at the end of the year, since I've bought a truck and started being an owner operator, I have made more money than uh, than I did ever company driving. And I did a lot as a company driver. I did it all. I don't want to say I did it all. I did a lot of things. You know, that's why I could go do most of whatever I wanted, because I went through all that training and learning, growing up in trucking, and then driving since 2011 and moving around quite a bit. Is I've pulled doubles and triples. I've done reefer. I've done drive-in. You know, worked for companies that were in multiple fields, which was kind of nice. And I've worked for owner operators, and I've worked for big companies. So I've kind of seen a lot of different stuff and got to use a lot of different equipment, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's why I'm doing this video. Uh, I just feel like a lot of guys get into it. I don't want you guys out there to hear these getting grouchy owner ops that failed. You know, they failed because of them. You can't blame other people for your success, or your success or your downfall. It's up to you, you know, to get it done. Uh, and if you boots on the ground and you put your nose to the grindstone, you can do it. I didn't know everything when I started. I had help, and you got to be willing to listen to guys who have been out here doing it and who are succeeding. And there's plenty of YouTubers on here that are succeeding. You want to listen to the ones that are still in business, that still have their trucks, that are still out here running. Don't listen to the guys that lost their trucks, or, no longer running, or, their company driving, you know, they're not owner operating anymore. There's a reason, and unless it's like a family, health reason or something like that, if it has anything to do with business or money, then maybe not the people you want to be watching and taking advice from. So I will give you the best piece of advice to end this video, because I'm about to pull in here and grab some Subway. I'm going to give y'all the best advice I can get. I hope y'all stuck with me through this. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching. We're up 2,000 subscribers. I can't wait to get the lights on the truck and get it polished and do a nice, cool video for you guys. I'm going to try to set up some sort of intro and stuff, with some music, and try not to run over this, little tractor. But best advice I got before I bought my first truck was from my dad, and I was company driving at the time. I was like, hey, this is going to be great. Finally got the money together to go out and get a truck as a first-time buyer, and I'm going to be an owner operator, and I'm going to be making that big money like you, and doing the same work but for a lot more money. And my dad's very straight up, no nonsense, no bullshit kind of guy. He has no problem telling you how he feels. And he told me, he said, "You're an idiot if you think that that's how it's going to go." Those were his words. Love my dad. Super nice guy. He told me, he said, "You're an idiot if you think that's how it's going to go." He said, "You will never work harder than after you buy this truck tomorrow. So you need to think about that before you go buy it. Because this is going to be the hardest thing you've had to do. It'll be way harder than what you're doing now. And you can succeed." And didn't say you will. He said, "You can succeed and you can make big money. But you're going to work harder, because you're going to drive your owner op in every sense of the word. You're going to drive that truck. You're going to operate that business and everything else that goes along with life." And I'll tell you what, he wasn't lying. I haven't had to work. I have never worked so hard as a company man as I have since I've been an owner operator. But like I said, I have never made this kind of money either. And when I say made this kind of money, I say not only in a gross sense, but as in a in my pocket, spend it frivolously sense. So here it is. Gotta love this Oklahoma. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's friggin' subway. Feels 287 down here. Or it's Kansas still. We're about 60 miles inside Kansas, just outside of Liberal on 83 here, heading south. Getting fuel down in Oklahoma right now for 267, 269 a gallon. Filling up down there every night, and that has been nice. I'm actually increased my miles by like 1,000 miles a week, and my fuel bill only went up like $300. So that was that's real nice. Thank you, Oklahoma, for your nice fuel prices. Part of the reason I came down here and did this run for a few weeks. Not only that, but it pays ridiculously well. It's supposed to anyway. I'll know tonight. That's the video, guys. I'm gonna get in here. I'm gonna get some Subway. Remember, keep the shiny side up. The shiny side up, if I can talk. Have fun out there, you know, and if you can, drink the water and eat healthy. All right. Thanks for always watching, guys. We'll have another video coming to y'all shortly.